Hello, YouTube and Dr. Brown. Welcome to my last video reviewing Larry Spears' Focus on Leadership. And today we will be reviewing and just discussing chapters 24 and 25 and highlighting kind of my favorite quotes from each respective chapter. But to begin, chapter 24, Servant Leadership and the New Economy, written by John P. Schuster. He's a management consultant and he teaches at a leadership center, and he has a lot of experience in entrepreneurship and leadership in that area in management. And so, we'll just dive right into my top three quotes. The first one, on page 340, he says, "As you read this, millions of business minds are thinking of the next way to find more customers who will spend more cash on products produced from as few assets as possible. It is a beautiful, huge, endlessly creative game." And I thought that was quite interesting just because it opens your mind to realize, like, some of these people aren't necessarily in the business world for the right reasons in terms of bettering society. And a lot of times we see this in companies that are just putting out cheaper and cheaper products in order to make more money. They don't care about the consumer or society. They just want to put more money in their pocket. And sometimes it's a good thing. It's innovative. It's helping the environment, but a lot of times it's not. And I just saw an example of this. I was trying to order some pants for trekking and a mission trip, and what I found was that the newer style of pants was actually far worse in production quality than the old version. So the second version, they cut corners, penny pinched to save money, but they charged more, and a lot of the reviews were like, "Don't buy these; they're just junk." And if you can, try to get your hands on the old ones. So it's like stuff like that. Try to get customers to spend more money on products produced from as few assets as possible. So that's like not a good thing, but it also can be considered good. Just all how you take it as a servant leader. Next quote, page 341. "The new economy is an entrepreneur's dream. We are in an intensively creative time. Venture capital is available, and we are generating an endless stream of ideas to build new business models and ventures." I just thought that was cool because even it reminded me of an entrepreneurship mindset that there's so much information out nowadays and so many different ways to make money that at this day and age we should be thinking of new creative fun ideas of businesses to run and ways to make money. But yeah, and then page 345, he's talking about like how servant leaders growing interest, and he says it's biased for people. "Leaders get their power by showing service to their followers and to society, not just by creating a new economic enterprise." I thought this was a good quote because it's like, where as leaders do we get our authority? Where as leaders do we get our power? It's from serving and creating something that really matters to the world rather than just, oh, let's become the next Amazon, the next Bill Gates, and make a boatload of money to receive power and authority, you know. So yeah, the next chapter, chapter 25, written by Margaret Wheatley, "The Work of a Servant Leader." There's a picture of her. She's an American writer, teacher, speaker, management consultant. She's the president of Berkana Institute, and she's got a lot of just business experience and that kind of stuff. So we'll dive right in. Chapter 25. There was a lot of good things in here. But yeah, my first favorite, page 351, she says, Part of the job description of a servant leader for me is that we have to be the ones who welcome newness, who look to be surprised rather than are fearful of surprise, who look for difference rather than try to ask people to conform and move into all those small boxes on our organizational charts. I just really like this quote because it's like servant leaders, we need to be ready for change, ready for adaptation, like new things, new ideas, and rather than just forcing everyone to move into old things and old ideas, let us be people that really hone in on newness and not be surprised by ups and downs in a company. The next quote I thought was interesting, page 354. She's talking a lot about humanity and innate desires. She says, "We are by nature a species that seeks intimacy." A species that seeks intimacy. She's talking about between people here, but I think there's also a level of intimacy with the Lord that she's talking about. Like, there's a deeper meaning of life that every human being is seeking out. And how can we as leaders be ones that facilitate relationships with God and also facilitate close-knit relationships between boss and employee that show, yeah, I love you as a person and I care about you. And even the Bible talks about love being the highest gift that the Lord gives, and we should love each other. And that's how the world will know that we're disciples of the Lord. And so seeking that intimacy, that tight-knit relationship in a workplace, kind of biblical. And then my last quote, page 356, she says, "I now define a leader as one who has more faith in people than they do themselves." You need to have more faith in people's capacity than they do in themselves, because people have lost their way. People have lost their sense of themselves. And I just thought this was really true and a good one to keep in mind, that as leaders we need to encourage and build up and just believe in the people below us even more than our own abilities. We're here to build them up and just lift them up to do any kind of job, in unity. So I just thought that was overall pretty good. Oh yeah, and then the last part of the book, the right here, the afterword. It's kind of interesting. Larry Spears talking about his visitation with Robert Greenleaf, and I think the part that stuck out to me was just, obviously it's an interaction with somebody who's on their deathbed, and he didn't necessarily realize it, but I'm sure Robert kind of did, and he was just soaking in all the work that he had done throughout his life. He was found at the end of his life to be one that was a servant who had a servant's heart and really just wanted to help people in society. And so that was really shown when Larry Spears is explaining, this and that, like all these quotes that you have, all these writings, like people are really saying great things. He says, Robert Greenleaf says, "I don't know what to say." He sat quietly for some moments, and this is on page 366. And so he's just speechless. He's like, this is what my life has come to. I've put this work in, and here we are. And then he said at the end of the meeting that he shook his hand, said, "Thanks for coming." And then as Larry walked out, he looked back and saw Robert Greenleaf just looking over the newspaper articles talking about the Greenleaf Center that had been built and all that. So just kind of a cool conclusion. Just, you met the guy, and, he had a significant impact on servant leadership and development of it. And it's kind of a full circle moment. So pretty cool. But that concludes my final video, and be blessed. See you later.